the biggest problem in AI that I feel like most people have never heard of is that messy, invisible kind of goulash between AI models and the chips that they run on. And yeah, goulash is my new favorite word, if you didn't know. But our next guest, he founded a company to help solve this problem. He might use different words. Tim Davis, co-founder and president of Modular AI, a company building software layer that removes hardware dependency traps, squeezes more out of performance, and helps AI products actually make money. Tim, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Nick and Matt, thank you for having me. It's great to be on here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So I'm hoping that you can do a slightly better job than I did of explaining the problem that you all are solving over there at Modular.
Yeah, sure. I mean, really what we're building is sort of, you can think of it as like a hypervisor for compute. And, what does that mean? Really, our goal is to abstract away the hardware and make it seamless for people to be able to execute, AI programs across any type of silicon. I guess in my now almost decade in AI, when you talk to AI engineers, no one says to you when they start, oh, I must use this type of hardware. Usually what it starts with is, someone's building something, they have some accuracy or latency or cost measurement for their application, and additionally throughput. And so, the idea that the hardware is front and center actually isn't true. And so really what we're doing is saying, hey, look, if we could build software that enables you to scale not only in the data center, but also out to the edge and have a single unified platform, it frees really frees any lock-in that you have to any single piece of silicon.
And Tim, I think when I hear the lock-in, I'm hearing CUDA, right?
Right.
Is that like tell us how this relates to, competes with CUDA?
Yeah, I think we look at ourselves as we want to make hardware more programmable and more accessible, right? And today, NVIDIA has done an incredible job. It has an enormous penetration in the data center. But I think if you look at the market today, we can talk about this later too. Pretty much every hyperscaler at this point is building their own silicon. Google's building TPUs, AWS is building Inferentia. There's AMD silicon out there. There's obviously NVIDIA silicon, and then separately from that, at the edge, you have the Android ecosystem. It's very fragmented on the hardware side. You also obviously have Apple silicon. And so the idea that, as a developer, if you want to be able to say, hey, look, I want to execute models not only on NVIDIA, to your point, Matt, with CUDA, but also on other types of silicon. How can I do that easily? And today that requires an enormous amount of rewriting to do it. And so, what our infrastructure essentially enables you to do is to execute very large models, DeepSeek and all the other models that you hear about. And we've essentially built an abstraction layer so you can easily go from NVIDIA to AMD to Google TPUs and others. And that's really the vision behind the platform.
And who is buying this? Or is it typically the frontier model companies? Is it anybody who's doing training, RL? Like who's buying your software?
Yeah, today it's really today we're inference focused. So we tend to work with sophisticated companies, and certainly even at my time at Google, typically how it works is Google obviously made an early bet on TPUs, so they saw the future. But really, most people start by saying, hey, look, I want to build something. They take a model, they go up to the cloud, they build cloud infrastructure, and then very quickly they realize, wow, this is expensive. It's expensive to run inference. Inference essentially, the old saying we used to have at Google was training scales to the size of your research team, but inference scales to the size of your user base. And so very quickly, as you start to scale, you realize GPUs and, particularly the green giants GPUs are expensive. And if you can, essentially begin to look at more options, just like we saw with like the multi-cloud movement, no one wants to say that they're locked to any single cloud. We're still very early in sort of the AI super cycle. And so I think the way we think about it is, hey, look, there's one incredible provider today. There is absolutely going to be a proliferation of hardware. It's already happening. And so the customers that we work with and the large scale enterprises that we work with already see that too. And they don't want to be locked to one platform. We want our software to be incredible on NVIDIA's silicon, but we also want it to be incredible on other types too, so that essentially people can move across it. So today, if you think about who is our target customer, who does this resonate with? very sophisticated AI labs, definitely. All the Gen AI startups who are pushing the frontier of very large scale deployments. And so that's sort of, who are really rolling out our software today. And then over time, our goal is obviously to make it much more accessible. I think all the AI coding infrastructure makes that even easier today than it ever has. And so, yeah, that's how you should think about who uses us.
Hey, this is Matt from Forward Future Live. Thanks for watching a clip from the live show. Forward Future Live is a weekly show where we bring on the top minds and CEOs from the artificial intelligence industry and interview them. Subscribe and catch the live show on YouTube and X.